What's up, everybody? TJ and Carrie here. We're doing a discussion on recovery today. A big, broad topic. We're just going to dive in and kind of talk with each other, kind of our experiences, what we know about recovery, and just see where it goes, I guess. So yeah, you were talking before. What were you getting into there?
So what got me onto this was an article someone sent me, and it had a study on mice. And these mice, they did what's called a doubly labeled water study, which is where they put isotopes so that they measure energy output perfectly. I don't know what that means exactly, but it's interesting. They use these isotopes to find out how much calories are burned exactly. And so they found they had basically three sedentary mice, medium work mice, and high work mice. And so what you would think that calories expended would be just kind of a line up. As they go, more work, more calories expended. That's not what happened, right? So as these mice, from sedentary to the medium work mice, they put them on the wheel and they had them work, it went up like this. But medium to heavy work, the line started flattening out more and more, which is wild.
Yeah. So there's a point of diminishing returns.
Right. So the idea of why do we need recovery, especially if working at a higher intensity level, and that's usually like if you see a lot of these programmings, they start low, get higher and higher, and then they drop you off. You know, boom, deload, time to recover.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of high intensity workouts, and as I've gotten older, it's tougher and tougher, and you get to a point where everything. I wake up, everything hurts, and it hurts throughout the whole day. Yeah. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? You know, and we have to go recover. So the reasoning is in there in that study. Why does the arc slow down? Because apparently there's a maximal caloric output you can have, right? You can only, the body allows you a threshold to burn calories. And after that point, they're like, we're not going to do it anymore. And the way it does it, it has to, like we don't know the exact pathways, but it shuts down certain processes.
Other processes, yeah.
It has to, right? Yeah. Just like why fasting isn't mathematically, a lot of people argue that caloric input and output, like if you just reduce the calories, it will equal, which in a normal diet it will. Yeah.
And it does to a point. And this is something we've seen and we've known through dieting and through coaching. I've seen where, you know, you can decrease a little bit and decrease a little bit, and people lose weight. Well, there's a point where, you know,
diminishing returns.
Yeah, it's going to slow down, and your body's going to adapt. And I guess it goes the opposite direction too. And I never thought about it necessarily or realized that there's also a point of diminishing returns. Like you can only work harder to a certain point, and then you have to recover.
Yeah, it diverts probably recovery and growth resources away, which is why you end up hurting so bad.
Which that also explains why, like, long distance runners and things, like how many calories are they burning? Okay, you went and ran 20 miles. You should burn a ton of calories, and you should be really lean and be able to eat a lot of food. But
yeah,
you don't see shredded marathon runners, right? And it's not because of lack of work. They're putting a lot of output, but there's point of diminishing returns.
Their body will, in some ways, like that adaptation point, the body will, you know, for runners, the mitochondria get bigger and they increase, the number increase, so they get to an adaptation point. But yes, then there's a ceiling where
you can only do so much.
Yeah.
So now the question is, okay, we talk about recovery. Okay, you can only do so much. Are we talking? Really, we're talking about all of it, but we're talking within a set, within a workout, within a week, within what? Because and I think the answer is all the above.
Yes.
Right? Because you can only do, you know, you put 135 pounds on the bar. You can go. There's going to be a point where you can't do any more.
Right.
And you have to stop and rest and do more. And the same within a workout. Like you can only train legs hard for so long. Maybe it's an hour and a half, 2 hours. There's going to be a point where.
And that's the idea for why they tell you afterwards, go lay down, go do nothing for a while. Yeah. The point is to allow your body to recover for that day, right? But it's also, if you reduce the caloric output, then your body can put more into recovering and making sure your muscles grow.
Right.
Over the long term, I think this is where it's really important. Over a month time, I used to be an intensity mindset, and I've heard other people that talk about the just when especially early 20s, teens, early 20s, 16 to 21. You're blasting it out. I don't need a break. I don't understand why people take deloads and doing Bulgarian training that with 1 rep max every single day.
Just every day.
Every single workout, sometimes multiple times a day. Like, that's not possible. Fortunately, the younger you have, more stem cells and less senescent cells, so more growth and less aging.
Yeah, less death.
Yeah,
That's
more
what it is,
less
death of
death.
cells, right?
More life, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's yeah. You can definitely tell as you age whether it's from your early 20s to your late 20s, and then when you get in your 30s and then 40s, 50s, and beyond, recovery becomes way more important. It's something that you can get away with it. I remember training like an idiot when I was younger. I still do something. But, and I could do it day in and day out, and I'd be so sore and just keep going and keep going. And
Yeah.
I never felt really fatigued. I never felt overtrained. Like now, if I do that a couple of days in, my body is talking to me. Like I feel the signs of overtraining. I have less of an appetite. I'm exhausted and can't sleep. And
when for me, I started Olympic training for my first time about a month ago. And
he's not training for the Olympics. It's Olympic
I won't be.
lifts.
The Olympic lifts. So Olympic.
Maybe one day.
The snacks and the clean and jerk. And because I'm not very skilled at these, there's a lot of technique. I'm using a lot lighter weight, and so I felt like I could tack on after he gave me my programming. I'm gonna do some deadliftings today. I'm gonna do some squats. I didn't take a day off for the first 2 weeks. I was like deadlifts, squats, bench press. I'll do a little extra here, maybe some bodybuilding. And at week 4, he's giving me my program. I'm like, is there a deload coming? He seemed surprised when he checks back, but I didn't tell him I'd been cheating.
By the way, I've been doing extra every day.
But everything hurt.
Yeah.
Everything hurt, and I was. So this is the point when I can't ignore the signs of my body anymore, and I know I have to stop, slow down.
I think this is an important thing that people need to understand, because just the fact that sometimes less is more, right? It's not, and I was guilty of it, and I'm still can be, but I'm more, a little more smart about it these days. But my thought was, I just work harder than anybody else, and I'll be better than them. And that'll get you so far, but there's a point where your body it doesn't work that way.
I think that's why I liked your style when I first met you, and the people you draw around you and the people you have in your gym, intensity mindset people. I love it because I believe hard work always pays off.
Yeah.
Outwork everybody, and I'm down with that. And I want people who think like that.
Yeah.
But there's a point, and you don't want to tell your average lifter that you need to slow down or recover.
Yeah.
Most of them are never working hard enough.
You don't want to say it too early, because then people think they have to rest all the time.
Right.
You have to earn it.
Yes. when your body's hurting all the time, then you need to start understanding when recovery is important. And sometimes I like to add more to my programming, and I'll go to my coach and be like, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. I didn't go to the gym today. I slept. I couldn't move.
Yeah. And I think it's important, if you're, whatever training style you're into, it's important to have a coach that understands these things, because a lot of times as individuals you don't know this, and you kind of get tunnel vision on your goal, and you want to just work harder. So, I work with powerlifters, I work with bodybuilders, and a lot of their mindset is that intensity mindset, and they want to work harder than anybody. And if I catch people all the time, in here doing cardio, I'm like, what are you doing? You did cardio this morning, you worked out. Why? I was going to do more. Well, there's a point where more isn't better. Or powerlifters, like, I had 360 was the weight you were doing. Well, why are you doing 405? Well, I felt like I could do it today. There's a reason this program builds. It's to build you up, and like you said, the program will build, and then you rest, and then you build, and then you rest.
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to get that concept, but long term it's going to pay off. Long term you'll get a lot more progress. You'll stay healthy longer.
Yeah. And the older you get, you start believing because it catches up with you.
Yeah. I think it's a couple weeks ago we were talking, and we were talking about autoimmune stuff, and I was listing all this stuff to Carrie about me, and he's like, TJ, you're just getting old. You're almost 40.
I think this is something's wrong, and I'm like, you're just
he's
old.
like, you're old.
Welcome to the club. It starts hurting.
It's true.
Even after a good recovery week, I'm like, yeah, I'm still hurting a little.
It still
bit.
hurts.
Yeah, it's okay. It's just the life we live.
So as far as, I think this was in the study or in our early talks about this, HIIT cardio, right? This is a good reason why HIIT works.
Right.
You can kind of push a maximal load and then back off.
Yeah.
Or a maximal intensity at least. So you push and then you recover. So you can push more, you recover and push more.
Right. Which is, there's high intensity training where people just go. And is that more effective or equally as effective with less work for high intensity interval training?
Right.
And in the long run, I would bet after looking at this study that, you do a 45 minute of balls out cardio, run around, heart busting out of your chest, or 45 minutes of interval training with the output of calories, with doing the doubly labeled water experiment, would it show that you spent the same amount of calories? Yeah. I would bet it'd be about the same.
Similar, yeah. Well, that's I'm big on HIIT over steady state as much as possible. It kind of depends. There's a lot of factors, the individual and where your nutrition's at, but I feel you can do a 12, 15 minute HIIT workout and it'd be as beneficial as far as caloric burn and results as a 45 minute steady state session.
And it saves time.
I think it's a much more efficient way to do it.
Yeah.
It sucks, but, but yeah, you can, because you can't sustain that maximal effort for 45 minutes, right?
No, yes.
So what you can do in high intensity intervals is you can go that full on for 30 seconds, recover for a minute, and then go for 30 seconds. If you try to go what you're doing, the intensity you're doing for that 30 seconds, your body just won't sustain it, right? Even if you're running for 45 minutes, you're not running at a full sprint.
Yeah. The guy who sent me this article also talked about a method where they check your heart rate and you might do one round of HIIT and wait till your heart rate gets down to like 140, 135, and which might take 2 seconds on the first round.
Right.
But by the 5th round, you're like,
Yeah.
what's my heart rate?
Yeah.
Yeah, you might want to wait a whole minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Or 2.
Yeah. But having your heart rate blasting at the max the whole 45 minutes, it is unsustainable and probably not as calorically efficient as we, you want to believe it's calorically efficient, but these studies show,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think, it's great to work hard. I'm never going to knock that.
No.
I love to work hard, and I like people that do work hard. But it's also good to work smart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Work hard for the amount of time you need to work hard. And then a big part of everything we do in, our industry, it's about results. And in order to get results, you have to have recovery.
And if you're a trainer training high-end athletes, it's preserving the athletes. Like
Yes.
you want, like your average person is just going to need to work harder.
Yeah.
More often than not.
Yeah.
But athletes, you want to keep them healthy for the long run. You're playing the long game.
Yeah.
You get an injury, you're out for 6 months. What good's that doing?
I tell people that all the time. Like, you're not going to make progress if you're injured.
Yeah.
Right, so it's take the rest day. Stick to the program. Don't do any more than you're supposed to.
Yeah, I like my mind sometimes plays tricks to me. It's like you're not working hard enough. I'm feeling guilty, and I go, and then 3 weeks in, I'm hurting bad, and I'm like, okay, it's different, it's new. I'll be fine.
So along the recovery things, I've always said, and I have nothing from any book or the only science I have from this is bro science and personal experience. I've always told people, and I feel like you cannot overtrain within a workout, right? As long as you can go balls out within a workout. You could do 1,000 reps done it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Whatever, within a workout, and as long as you give yourself ample recovery, meaning the days you need to recover for that body part, you're fine. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it would be within a workout. It probably is fairly difficult to overtrain within one workout because your body's going to not allow you to keep producing maximal output. So it's less and less. Your body's shut down. Is it as effective? I think there's a point of diminishing returns.
Right.
So like you probably can't overtrain, but you might be spinning your wheels.
Right.
So
slowing down efficiency.
Right. But I think I remember doing the 1,000 rep leg day, and I think it is making sure someone's ready to do something. You're going to do whatever I tell you to do. You're going to do what it takes.
A rite of
you're gonna
passage.
work hard. Yes. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Doing 1,000 rep leg days, once a week, spinning your wheels.
Yeah,
definitely spinning your wheels.
I agree with that. And then also, think about duration. Like I'm talking about just like a hardcore bust your ass for a workout. I'm not talking about, okay, we're going to spend 8 hours working out in the gym, right? I'm just talking about, most people within the time they're normally in a gym, even if it's 2 hours, you're not going to overtrain.
Yeah.
And rarely work out for 2 hours. Most of my workouts are 45 minutes, an hour, maybe an hour and 15.
Yeah.
But the way I train, most people couldn't do that for 2 hours anyway.
Right. No. Yeah.
But with it's my whole thing behind that is that, it's not a whole day of working out. It's within a reasonable workout, you're not really going to overtrain.
Right. And I
as
think
long
2
as you give
hours.
yourself ample recovery time after.
Right. Powerlifters, 2 hours with 3 minutes rest in between.
3 minutes, 6, 8. Some of them here go get a cup of coffee at Starbucks, come back, do their next set.
How many sets you got left? 5.
Yeah. How many sets
They don't
you
mean
got
that.
left?
They
2
don't
days.
understand that means like 15 minutes.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into supplementation or anything like that recovery-wise, but that's something you need to know. There's so many, and we talked about this before we started, that it's such a broad topic, we can't talk about everything, so we just kind of wanted to chat about it. But sleep is huge for recovery. Supplementation, whether you're taking anabolics or not,
Right.
it's a huge recovery factor.
Increases,
So whether powerlifting, bodybuilding, any type of athletes that go that route, nutrition, huge.
Man, definitely eat. And on your recovery days, some people they're cutting back on their calories because they want to stay lean. I'm like, no, man, you're healing up unless you're getting ready, prepping for a bodybuilding show where you're trying to get as lean as possible. You follow your directions,
Right.
But generally, eat as much as you normally do on a recovery day. How is your body going to recover?
Right.
You want to eat less. I want to stay lean. No. Eat what you normally eat.
Yeah, you have to give your body the fuel it needs to recover.
Absolutely.
But mainly we wanted to talk about rest and recovery in that aspect. And I thought it was really interesting as far as, because like I said, I've seen it in the deficit side of things.
Yes.
But as far as a surplus, like I never thought of it that way or never realized that there's probably a surplus of work that you're not going to really burn any more calories.
Yeah, it was wild seeing the output, flat lines, and to understand that your body's shutting down important pathways in your body. It's to make sure that you're not over burning calories. I don't know why there's a maximum caloric output, but there is.
Yeah. Interesting.
And it makes me understand more about fasting for 3 days that you're not losing 12 pounds. It's the same reason. It shuts down pathways.
Yeah, it works in both directions.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else recovery-wise you want to hit on?
No.
Yeah, I think that is interesting. Hopefully it kind of gets your wheels turning. It got ours turning and sparked more conversation.
Yeah.
If you guys have questions, information, input, put it in the comments. Let us know. Send us a message. Any other topics you want to hear us talk about or want to know more about, let us know that too.
Yep.
Till next time.
Don't forget rule number 1.